Yeah, I don't see much negative left now in benching Carson Wentz. Do I believe it's going to happen? No. But just as, the thinker that I am, I got to just look at things and say, there is so much more potential positive that can come from benching Carson Wentz than there is that can come from just letting him just stay in. And I say to you, like what I said yesterday, with what does the eye test tell you? The eye test tells me that this guy has thrown 14 interceptions this year. He's had four lost fumbles. He's had way more than four fumbles. Four lost fumbles, bringing you to 18 turnovers total in 10 games, which is almost two turnovers per game. And if you're turning the ball over two times per game on average, you better be making that up with at least two touchdowns per game, at least 300 yards per game, at least running for 80 plus yards per game. Is he doing any of that? Is he even coming close to that? No. So I ask you, Carson Wentz loyalists, and trust me, there's few of you, what few of you there are left out there, what are you holding on hopes for? Like, what thing can you point to that says, like, okay, he can be good, but this has to happen, and that's going to help it be good? Because I'd argue you could get him the top receivers in the league, and he might have two more wins this year at best. Because his decision making is so poor, his ability to spot the open receivers is so poor, that what makes me think that even if he had top tier talent, he would do even that much more with it. I mean, what does seeing a good receiver wide open different than spotting a mediocre wide receiver open? Like, that's going to be a different thing that he's magically going to find? That he's going to magically not take as long in the pocket when you see it crushing in, when you see Jason Peters getting blown up on a block and get a sack safety yesterday late in the fourth quarter? And don't get me wrong, people are going to say, like, well, Doug Peterson's play calling isn't doing him any favors. And I agree. Doug Peterson can hit the bricks too. Hit the bricks too. But I'm saying I want to see what is best for the future here. And, hey, Doug Peterson will be here or not, whatever. He doesn't have to get on the field and play. Carson Wentz does, and that ultimately affects the team a lot more than Doug can. I mean, you could say, well, technically, controlling all the play calling, but no. I mean, Doug Peterson can't just say, like, okay, this time, Wentz, find the open receiver, and it'll magically happen. Okay? Carson Wentz still has to throw the ball, still has to find the receivers, etc., etc. And I'm to the point now where I'm looking at the schedules, specifically with the 3-win teams, specifically in the division alone. Look at the Redskins, Cowboys, and Giants. They're all at 3 wins. Eagles have 3 wins, 3.5. And I'm looking at the Giants, Redskins, and Cowboys and going, um, I see like 2 to 4 wins on any one of their schedules. I look at the Eagles and I'm like, are they going to beat the Seahawks? Are they going to beat the Packers? Are they going to beat the Cardinals? Oh. Are they going to beat the Saints? Oh, but Archfiend Breeze probably won't be back by then. Do you still think they're going to beat the Saints? No. No, I don't. Uh, what wins do you have left on the Eagles' schedule? The Redskins and Cowboys? That's the only 2 games left that I say that the Eagles have a shot at winning. And even at that, if they go in favored in those games, what, are you going to be favored by a point or two? We saw what they did against the Cowboys when they started a quarterback that had no business even playing in the league. The Eagles limped their way to a victory in that game. What do you think they're going to do against Andy Dalton? Andy Dalton, I even said to someone, Andy Dalton's twice the quarterback Carson Wentz is this year. I say that with a straight face and zero hesitation. And one guy brought up in the comments yesterday saying, like, I would give up on Wentz, but I want to see him under a different coach. Because when Frank Reich was calling the offensive plays, Wentz looked great. And maybe that was it. Maybe it is it. But here's the thing. I go by a simple principle of if you are good, you will look good no matter who is above you. Like, I don't care. Like, if it's the worst coach in the league, and if Doug Peterson is the worst coach in the league and the worst coach ever, whatever, hypothetically, you still got to find a way to look decent. Carson Wentz doesn't look decent. Carson 5 is top 5 worst in the league, arguably top 3 worst in the league. Like, I don't care how bad the play calling is. Play calling can be the difference in that, they didn't win the game, they lost the game, it was stupid play calling. But that doesn't ultimately dictate how many turnovers you have. Like, how many of those turnovers can Doug Peterson be blamed for? The guy's turned the ball over 18 times. You try to tell me if he had a good coach and the good coach said, Carson Wentz, what I want you to do on all these plays is when you see the open receiver, throw to him. Like, because that's coming from a good coach, that's magically going to happen. uh, so, yeah. And again, going back to the whole thing of like what the 3-win teams are in the league and their remaining schedule, and seeing that, like, there's a lot of those 3-win teams that are going to be getting a win or 2 or 3 here and there. And I'm looking at the Eagles and I'm like, best case scenarios, they win 1 or 2 more games at best. And if all those other 3-win teams start getting 6, 7 wins at the end of the year, the Eagles are looking at a potential top 5 draft pick. And if you have a top 5 potential draft pick, you have the potential to draft one of the top quarterbacks in the league, in college football, to come into the league. With that being said, I want to see what we have out of Jalen Hurts. Because if this guy is legit, then you put your draft stock into something else. If not, then you say, hey, all right, hey, maybe we can move up another spot and get a top 2 draft pick if you have to. So I want to see what we have out of Jalen Hurts. And that's, again, another thing of how you can get a positive out of benching Carson Wentz right now. And another positive you can get is it sends a message to the league. To the team that bad play will not be tolerated. And just because you're a high-paid contract player doesn't mean you're just guaranteed a spot on the field every day as a starter, every week as a starter. Like, is it the money thing? Is it the vote of no confidence thing? Like in British parliamentary, in the British Parliament, there's a thing called a vote of no confidence, in that if a vote is brought forth to the Parliament and they vote against it, the leader of the party is out. So it's like if Carson Wentz is seen as not the suitable guy to take snaps under center, the leader is out. Howie, you're out. Like, is that what it is? Because you could argue that, well, Howie could have his job saved if Jalen Hurts comes in and balls out, because then it's like, oh, Howie, you did it again. You did a good job. You pulled an ace out where we didn't think it was, and you took Jalen Hurts in the 2nd round, and you lucked out. And not so did it again. One of the few times you did it. So yeah, you could say that Howie Wentz. Oh my God. You could say that's one of the few things that could save Howie's job right now, is if Jalen Hurts looks good. Oh my goodness. But again, it's like what I said yesterday. It's like don't expect anything to change. Don't expect. Nothing's changed yet. Why would it change now? So, don't expect Howie Roseman to get fired. Don't expect Jeff Lurie to fire anyone else on the team and go over Howie Roseman's head or anything like that. But it's like, to the Carson Wentz loyalists out there, again, to the few of you out there, why would you stick with him? Why would you stick with him at this point? And another positive that you can argue, like say going into the Seattle game next week, the one positive that you could get out of this is you sneak a win because you take the other team by surprise because they have such little tape on your other team's quarterback, and that you don't know what his game plan is. You don't know how often he's going to, bootleg run on you on a play action pass or something, or just a RPO option, anything like that. Like, you could sneak in a victory that you have no business winning a game against a team like Seattle. And it's like, oh, wow, that changes everything dynamically. It changes the whole scope of things because now you took a win from a game you shouldn't have. Maybe you get another 2 wins against the Redskins and Cowboys, and you're just coasting to an easy NFC East victory and killing your draft pick. But if the object's to get in the playoffs and the teams want to convince themselves is, you just got to get your spot in the dance, then how does throwing the same old shit with Carson Wentz on the field against Seattle help increase that chance at all? Anyway, a long time Wentz defender and loyalist, and I'm done with him. May I hope he proves me wrong? Absolutely, and I'll absolutely own up and say he proved me wrong. But let's be real. Anyway, this team is a mess. And don't worry, just because I'm not talking about other aspects of the team doesn't mean that my problems with the team are limited to just coach, GM, and quarterback right now, because obviously they have many more flaws than that. Someone always points out, just like, oh, well, what about the linebacking core, man? They barely shoved this. Shut up. I get it, there's other problems with this team. But Wentz is the biggest salary cap gluttonous clog on the team, and he's one of the biggest problems on the team. You can't have the guy that's paid the most be the highest contributor to problems on the team. Like, you just can't do that. And do you need more than 10 weeks to figure that out? Come on, Wentz defenders. Jump off the bridge with me. Let's go. That is all.